guys, I am live. I should be live in two places. I should be live on Twitch and I should be live on YouTube. Okay, we are using OBS. I have been working on my setup. If you guys want to know the equipment I am using, I got some new lights, I got a new mic, I got a new camera, and I will put the description of what I'm using below. But I wanted to talk about the Lori Vallow case. So here on this channel, we are going to be talking about the upcoming trials that are happening. There's so many of them that are just major news right now. And I actually did create some sort of like timeline of the trials that are coming up that people are talking about most. But the first one upcoming is the one in Arizona. So I guess let me see, March 31st, that's today. So if you guys aren't familiar, I'm sure you have heard of her, but Lori Vallow, they call her the Doomsday Mother. She's accused of killing her two children. One is adopted, a son, but you know, they're still her kids, and it's going to be a crazy trial, okay? If you didn't see my last video, I did kind of touch on it already, but she is planning on representing herself. That is just wild because they're saying she's not fit to stand trial, but yet she's gonna represent herself. I'm gonna try and see the chat as well. I am new to this live streaming, so I don't have everything figured out yet. And today is the first time I'm streaming to two platforms, so that is super exciting. And let me see. Hopefully I can pull up. Okay, I have one chat for Twitch, and I have the chat for YouTube up now. Okay. Oh, as you guys can see on my desktop, let's look up what's happening with the Lori Vallow. Okay. Lori Vallow. What's latest in the news? For Doomsday. 5 things to expect from Lori Vallow Daybell's trial. Okay, well, this is just a video, so I don't really want to play a video because I just not, I mean, we can do reaction videos. I do want to do that at some point. Let me see if I can add another. Let me see, I'm going to move this over here and put this over here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. So you guys can kind of see my screen now. And let me turn off my cell phone. So I hope you guys are doing great tonight. I am going to be going live a lot more often. If you guys aren't familiar with me, I used to have, well, I still do. I have a YouTube channel called Latin Affiliated, and I interviewed a bunch of Latino artists, and I live in LA, so we had such a great run in 2024. However, the fires started and chaos ensued, and I didn't get any interviews after that. And that was the new year. The start of the 2025 was basically an SHIT show for everyone. But I found myself binging on these court cases. And so I feel like I could add to the conversation, and I thought it would be fun to try and start something new. So here I am. Here we are. I can play this, but I don't think I have the audio set up. I'm not really sure. I can hear this, but I don't know if it's playing within the within your guys's media outlet or whatever. So let's just read the news on her. I don't really want to watch a video. I will do some reaction videos. Honestly, I do want to have things set up for when the trial starts and do live reactions to that. So hopefully, knock on wood, I will have the setup figured out for when all of these trials start, because let me see if they will have cameras inside of the Lori Vallow courtroom. Sorry, guys. I need to just get like a stand or something. Let me see. Cameras. Cameras allowed. Let's see what they say. Cameras allowed. Okay, cool. So we are going to stream when that's happening. I wonder how long it's going to take. Gosh, I mean, there's no telling with court cases, like if they'll be long or I don't know. It's just no telling. But okay, apparently tomorrow, I think, is when they're going to start the jury selection. Let's see. Okay, we're just a few days away from the start of the Lori Vallow Davis, Arizona murder trial, and it could be unprecedented circumstances in this long saga. I mean, why? Why is it unprecedented? I mean, I guess because she's like a serial killer. You can call her a serial killer legit, because she's killed, or allegedly, okay, so many people have died that have unfortunately came across her path. And two of them were directly related to her, including her brother, who died from some random circumstance, her biological daughter, her adopted son, and her ex-husband. So that's 4 people, and I don't mean to laugh, but I believe that qualifies you as a serial killer. So for the loved ones of Charles Vallow, so that's her ex-husband. He was left to die by his then wife. Yeah. When he died, they interviewed her. She showed up on the scene, and the cops showed up on the scene, and they told her, did you know your husband just got killed? And she just was like in a happy mood. It didn't even seem to register to her. So she didn't seem to have like a normal reaction about it. They actually have footage of her, like they have camera footage, body footage, I guess, body cam footage, and she's just like off. I think she maybe is disassociating. That could be what's going on, but her reactions just haven't really been in line with someone who just was told that their husband has been killed. That just reminds me of like Chris Watts and Shannon Watts. If you guys are familiar with that case, Chris Watts killed his wife, and she was pregnant, and then they got him. He was just more worried about like the cops finding out that he cheated on her than her actually being gone. So that's very telling of where someone's mentality is if they're not really giving a normal just reaction. And that's goes along the lines of like being labeled a narcissist who is incapable of actually expressing emotions when they're actually just trying to go through the motions. And in the case of Chris Watts, he was pleading with the investigators that he didn't kill his wife, and yet they were wondering how come, instead of pleading with them to realize to convince them that he wasn't involved, why wasn't he asking more questions about why he was in the situation, what was happening, how could they accuse him? He was focused on something that was really odd and off-putting. And that's how these narcissists kind of give themselves away. They're hyper focused on something that they think is like exhibiting innocent behavior, but in all reality it's quite the opposite. And these investigators are trained to read people. So these people are just crazy. Oh, it says right here, Lori Vallow, she believes she's a goddess, and she's the smartest woman on earth. So it doesn't surprise me that she wants to represent herself. But I don't think that it's a smart thing that I would ever do if I were in her shoes. Exactly. It's not smart. It's the first of 2 trials for her. Okay, so she's got this trial. So no matter what, she can't win them all. Let's say by a miracle she wins one of them, she's going to lose something. So she's going to be in jail for the rest of her life. I'm calling it right now. Maybe I am calling things too soon, but for one, she's representing herself. She's not qualified. They don't even think she's fit to stand trial. So how the heck can she represent herself? The first of 2 trials. The second is another conspiracy charge, as she's accused of plotting a shooting at her ex-nephew-in-law's Gilbert home. Why are all the crazies in Arizona? I'm so sorry, Arizonans, if you're watching, but this all a lot of crazy things. Like Jodi Arias, she killed Travis Alexander. Rest in peace, Travis Alexander. You did not deserve how you were taken by this crazy lady. So now that's 5 people. Well, she didn't kill her ex-nephew, but he suspiciously got shot at, like randomly. Luckily, he did not get hit. But investigators say he too was deemed a dark spirit. I don't know why. That's crazy. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum asked Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell what the trial means to her office when it comes to getting justice for Charles and Brandon. Why did they call Brandon a dark spirit? He too was deemed a dark spirit. So I guess Lori deemed him a dark spirit. She's a dark spirit. Is she crazy? These are individual victims who deserve justice as any victim does. This office has put a ton of resources into this case. Mitchell says her team has been waiting to prosecute Vallow Daybell for a long time. We're looking forward to our day in court as well. Maybe it's time to get on the next. So jury selection begins Monday, March 31st. That's tomorrow. And I guess the trial is going to be in Arizona. The goal is to have 12 jurors seated by the end of the week and have opening statements on April 7th. Holy crap, that seems fast. Is that usually how long it takes to pick a jury? And if she's representing herself, does Lori Vallow get to, because usually the attorneys get to vet the jury selection. Does Lori Vallow get to select jury? Let's see what it says here. Okay, so as the defendant, she has the right to participate in the jury selection process, including striking potential jurors she believed would be biased or otherwise unsuitable. So I didn't know defendants. I thought attorneys of defense attorneys got to. I didn't know that. So, okay, so defendant's role in jury selection. In a criminal trial, the defendant or their legal counsel plays a crucial role in selecting the jury that will hear their case. Voir dire. Okay, that's a new word. The process of questioning potential jurors to determine their suitability is called voir dire. Challenges. Both the prosecution and the defense have the opportunity to challenge potential jurors either for cause, meaning they have a specific reason to believe the juror is biased, or peremptorily, meaning they can remove the juror without stating a reason. Lori Vallow's case. In the case of Lori Vallow, she has the right to participate in the jury selection process, including striking potential jurors she believes would be biased or otherwise unsuitable. Because of the high-profile nature of the case, the judge will likely take extra steps to ensure an impartial jury, including limiting publicity and potentially moving the case to a different location. While Lori Vallow has the right to represent herself, she also has the option of having a legal counsel represent her. So she is representing herself, but she does have legal counsel. And she will have someone that I don't think who knows, hopefully she will take whoever is her legal counsel's guidance, and I don't know. Okay, so Ada County Courthouse looks like where it's going to be at. Keep an open mind. Jury selected. It says jury selected. I don't think which trial is this? Maybe this is her other trial, because she's got a few of them apparently. The jury, which consists of 10 men and 8 women, are given numerous instructions by the judge on Friday regarding the case. Okay. So this is a different trial. Prosecutors were previously seeking the death penalty against Vallow Daybell, but it was later taken off the table by a judge. Oh my God. There's just so many trials for her. Yeah, she gave this interview with Dateline, and it was really weird. She's just off. She did it with that guy. I think his name is Keith. Interestingly, Keith is the stepfather of Matthew Perry that passed away, the actor from Friends. But she was super condescending in this interview and just telling Keith that everything he was asking her was hearsay, and it's like, lady. And she was saying, how could anyone judge her if they don't know her personally? Well, no circumstances that you're in, that there's no coincidences. Like, we all have to know that it's no coincidence that so many people that have come across our path have died under really suspicious circumstances. That is just not normal. So if you guys haven't watched this interview, go check it out. Like, she just is pretty out there. Like, I don't know who allowed her to wear makeup. Like, I mean, I guess that makeup doesn't look very good. She must have like, she's probably using like crushed up like crayons or something. Like, you know how people in jail get very creative with and resourceful. That's what that makeup looks like. She honestly, and how did she curl her hair? Like, she's got a curling iron in jail too, because those curls look pretty good. I don't know. She figured out how to do it. But okay, so jury selection starts tomorrow. She has a say-so, which who knows how that's going to work. I need to find out where the trial will be at. Where will the Lori Vallow Daybell trial be held? Will it be in Gilbert? She filed a motion to dismiss her case. Of course. She's her attorney, her own attorney. So that's the first thing she's going to file. Let's just file to dismiss it. Like, lady. Okay, so it's in Maricop County. That is in Phoenix. Or I guess, yeah, Phoenix. A judge will allow a camera in the courtroom. All right, guys, so trial selection's happening this week. They are just on the fast track with it. They're going to know in a week who these jurors are going to be. And they're starting not tomorrow, not Monday, but the next Monday, April 7th. One pool camera will be allowed to provide a live stream to media outlets with a possible 1 to 2 minute delay. So that means if she gets crazy and they got to like stop the stream, they got time to do that. Daybell, we want to make sure that the cameras aren't going to be zooming in at any level to our notes or the things that are going to be on our table. What has happened before is that they just have the camera on my face the entire trial. I think when the judge is speaking, the judge needs to be on the camera. When the state is speaking, they need to be on the camera. Damn, okay. Pretty specific, trying to be a director. According to Bresky explained the 200 potential jurors live in Maricopa County. So if they are jurors from the area, they for sure have heard of this case, so they're not going to be unbiased. So, you know, that's going to be, I think, pretty hard to get a fully unbiased jury. They're not going to get that. Let's see what else it says here. Other motions were heard during Tuesday's hearing, including a request from Daybell for her videotaped interview with detectives after Vallow was killed. That's what I'm talking about. That video where she just shows up on the scene and she's just like, hey, I need to go back in my house. And they're like, there is a crime scene happening. And she's like, oh. And she's just like, oh, shit, you know, like, oh, damn, like, okay, well, you guys, you know, I'll be back then. Like, hello, lady, like, get a freaking clue. Like, what is wrong with you? She wants her videotaped interview with detectives after Vallow was killed. Vallow's her husband, her ex-husband, I think her third husband. Now she's on to her fourth husband, who is the cult leader. Daybell is the guy she married, who's also in jail. He's locked up too. She also wants video of police interviewing her daughter, Tylee Ryan, and friend Melanie Gibb. Man, there's just so many trials with this lady. It's just crazy. Watch Tuesday's hearing in the video player above. Okay, so this is apparently where we can watch it. I guess we'll come back to this channel and we will watch the trial. I will be here. Let's do some live reactions. I definitely want to see her opening statement. Can we do some predictions? Like, what do you think she's going to say? I mean, they found the bodies. So, and in my previous video, I do want to make a correction. I had read somewhere that they thought that the daughter was killed on a camping trip and possibly pushed into like a hot spring, like acid hot spring, and her body was dissolved. It's much, I don't even know if you can get worse than that, but it's a lot worse than that. Her daughter, she was actually dismembered and attempted to be burned. And they found the remains of her daughter in a pet cemetery. And most likely they probably thought they were so smart. Like people, forensic scientists can tell the difference between animal bones and human bones. So Lori Vallow, you're not very bright, okay? So that's probably why they thought they could bury a human body in a pet cemetery and it was going to go unnoticed. Like, so the son, the adopted son, they did not dismember. He was still in his PJs and he had duct tape on his mouth. But they have two bodies. Actually, they have all the bodies. So, you know, we'll get, that's already 4 strikes against her. Having the body is the hugest piece of evidence in any murder trial, along with the weapon that was used. And I'm just thinking of Brian Koberger right now because they never found the knife, Brian Koberger's knife. But anyways, that's another court case. All right, guys. Well, let me know what you think Lori Vallow Daybell's defense is going to be. What do you think she's going to say in her opening statement? I know that they had tried and lean in that she was unfit for trial. And we know that, but that doesn't make you, able to walk away from facing charges for murder. Like, no way. So for her kids, oh man, I have no idea, honestly. What could she possibly say? What could she possibly say in her opening statement? I mean, maybe that'll be the next video. Like, I'll research a little bit more on, does she actually have an alibi? Does she actually have something she said that if she didn't do it, what happened? There's so much going on around this case. I actually did hear a phone call today with her sister, that her sister was just sounded like her heart was shattered. And she was yelling at Lori and saying, why didn't you tell me that they were found in a field like they were pieces of trash? And her and Lori was like, well, again, so nonchalant. And the sister was so upset because that was the same week Lori went off to get married, and she's in Hawaii frolicking, taking wedding photos while her children have been discovered. And so her sister really, really sounded like so heartbroken, and she was yelling and screaming. I'll find that that phone call and play it here. I got to figure out how to play the audio when I'm talking to people on live. So maybe I'll get that and I'll shoot another video tomorrow.